But I would say for the most part, a lot of men and women kind of like that old school structure.
Oh, absolutely.
And I'll tell you, for me, I love an independent woman, but I still like to feel like the man in a sense.
But that's the balance.
So, right. I'm just saying that's me. Like I want a strong woman who will tell me what's up, who will tell me if she's upset. I want a woman who speaks her mind. I don't want a woman who just does everything I say.
Right.
I'm not attracted to that. But at the same time, I want a woman that kind of sees me as her man, as opposed to like, it's not an inequality thing.
Right.
It's more of like, I want to feel masculine.
Yes.
So in a sense, I do see things differently, because I'm not saying I disagree with you completely. Yeah. We might. But ultimately, yeah, there's some women who are like, you're not man and I'm woman, we're just people. And I'm like, I have a bit of I think differently. I do think there is an idea of masculine energy and feminine energy.
Absolutely.
Right. So that doesn't mean that, for instance, you do jujitsu, you can kick, I'm sure you can kick many dudes' asses.
And I can cook,
right.
and I can clean, and I can do laundry.
Okay, right.
And when people ask me, once again, for quote-unquote alpha female, for me, the biggest accomplishment that I want for my life is to be a mom. It's not to make $1 million. It's literally to be a mother. And that's why I said I don't believe in equality. Because in a way, and once again, mad alert, I do believe in certain gender roles. I don't agree with all of them, but there's some of them that I do address.
Yeah, you're gonna upset a shit ton of people.
Because
I happen to feel that way too. I think that there's a beauty to that. I think when we try to make men women and women men and all that, like, because like I say, I go back to saying, I think most women are attracted to the idea of a man, right?
Yes.
And you know, for instance, I said this in a different episode. When you watch a show like Vikings or Lord of the Rings, Game of Thrones, right?
Spartacus.
A big attraction, and not just for women, but an attraction is that kind of medieval, primal, men with swords and big muscles and hairy chests, and they're just, and they take over and conquer and whatever. That it's funny because nowadays we would look at that as a terrible thing. It's not peaceful. We want more of this pacifist society. But why are we so drawn to that? That's the real
fuckery
question of all of it. And my answer is that by nature, when it comes down to all of it, when we cut the grass, as tough as a woman might be for you, for instance, you still want to be that mother. So
absolutely.
Right? So like so that's why in a sense I think feminism has its pros, but when it starts to kind of take men and just shit on them constantly, I think they're missing the boat there.
Completely missing the boat.
And another thing I heard, I'm a big Joe Rogan fan, and he was discussing the idea that there are men that just try to attract women by claiming that they're feminist, but in actuality they become so female-like. Women don't find them attractive because they don't have their own opinion. They're just gonna say, "Oh well, Sally says it." Listen, there's nothing attractive about it.
Right. And it's the thing. And I think when we go back to like the balance, right? You want a woman that's independent, but don't take away my masculinity. What does that really mean? This is what it really means. When you watch the movie 300, that's what balance looks like. Okay? That is a badass king that will literally fuck you up 1-2, like no thought.
But current culture sees that as like the worst thing in the world. But yet that sells like crazy.
No. But then you look at the queen. Before he made his decision, he looked at her. He wanted her input.
That is so true.
He didn't just silence her because he was the king. And that's why she had the balls to say to this man that just like barged into their space, only real women give birth to smart men. Like only us give birth to real men. Because the king knows his role and the queen knew her role. They knew their strengths, they knew their weakness, and they respect each other for it.
You couldn't have said, I couldn't have
said. You know what I mean? So it's not a matter of like, listen, I can kick ass any day of the week, but you best believe that if I go out to a restaurant and some guy try to like come talk to me and be disrespectful, I'ma give my man the first dibs on kicking his ass.
That's all I wanted to know.
You know what I
That's all I
mean?
was curious about.
Like,
You know, your man's gonna be very happy to hear that. He's gonna be like, yeah. He's gonna be thrilled.
Because, listen, I believe that I can, but there's something about wisdom and knowing when you should and you shouldn't.
Yeah, like for me, I would be like if the next girl that I'm dating, hopefully soon, if I know that she can fight or protect herself, but she gives me that ability, meaning she wants me to, because that's important to me.
It's
I want
a
to be able to
trust
protect
thing.
her. No, but as the man, I need to feel that.
Yes.
If that's taken away from me, I don't feel manly anymore.
Yes.
So I want her to be able to. Don't get me wrong. That's very sexy to me, but at the same time, I want to be able to do that. So like
Absolutely.
if she's just taking care of it herself while I'm there, it's like,
People, it takes away from a man being a man, okay? It just does. It just does
We're
at the
on
end of
the
the
same
day.
page.
And also, for example, we talked about this earlier. I make my own money. You best believe if I want it, I got it. But when I'm in a relationship, I'm going to give you, once again, the first place. Like, do you want to pay for this? Like, you can do all of that. But also, I want him to feel comfortable enough that if he can't, he's not ashamed of telling me, baby, I don't get it today. Can you handle this? Because then there is this literal balance of him respecting the fact that any kind of relationship that we have is a choice. I don't have to be with you. You don't have to be with me. And once we choose to be together, we respect each other's abilities and we respect each other's weaknesses.
it's a great equilibrium.
You know?
That's a great balance.
And when you, like, he's an MMA fighter, and when we train, it's so funny because we no longer compete with each other. Because in the beginning it was like a competition because I'm very competitive and he's extremely competitive. But now it's a matter of like respecting each other's abilities. He's a higher belt than me. I look up to him in his position because he is superior than me in that aspect. But then when it comes to like business and when it comes to like building something, he does look up to me because of what I have built so far. And there's no shame in not having the same strengths.
You both have your admiration for each other.
And that's the thing, admiration.
Would you say you'd be attracted to a guy who was lazy or didn't have like this thing that drove him?
Okay, lazy is where I draw the line.
Right. And I think and to be honest, I think that's most women. I think men care less. For me, that's a big thing. I can't stand lazy. And I'm not going to say I don't have my lazy moments, but for the large majority of my day,
Moments is different than life.
Yeah, no, I'm not a lazy person by nature, not at all.
You know.
So I think, most people are not attracted to that. Maybe if they're lazy, they want a lazy person subconsciously, but especially I think, and you're the lady here, so you tell me, that's a big no-no for most because that equates to he probably can't provide for me. I probably can't rely on him. I don't
Reliance,
and then you worry that your kids might have the same problem,
Exactly.
and then you have that fight where you're trying to push the kids to get shit done. He's saying, "Oh no, tell your mom to relax. It's fine," and you have that rift. Whereas if you both were on the same page, your kids will become rock stars.
Exactly.
You know,
Absolutely.
I think that's key.
And what you said, the key thing is the reliance, because reliance is the base for everything else. The financial aspect, the kids aspect. If I cannot rely on you, okay, in the smallest thing, like for example, listen, I'm running late. I need to take out the trash, which is something so basic. But if you can't do that, and I have to constantly tell you about this one thing that to you it's just the trash, in a woman's brain, literally it translates as unreliable. You don't keep your word. I can't trust you. I can't depend on you. Oh my God, red flags. This is going to go down the shitter. You know, because for us, we, like the majority of women, or at least I can speak for myself, I pick up on the details. For me, consistency in your behavior is key, especially in the first 90-day trial period. I want to see your consistencies. And this is the thing too. If you don't do something, that is you being consistently inconsistent.
Consistently consistent. I like that.
Because a lot of people don't understand that lack of action also speaks volume.
Oh yeah,
You know?
I'm a big proponent of that.
Oh,
And also,
yes.
I think also a lot of people that start out in relationships want their significant other to think they're perfect, and then once they get comfortable enough, that's where everything goes down the tube, because they're like,
Oh, yeah.
they're comfortable enough with me now, I can show them the real me, and then the real me is either someone who just constantly strives,
Yep.
or someone who's just like,
Just
and
coasting.
and I'm not, and like I said, I like to say these things because I truly believe them.
Yes, absolutely.
And I'm someone who I can confidently say implements them on a daily basis. I couldn't care less if people are like, no, I think most people who know me would agree. And if they don't, fuck it.
Exactly.
But because I know what I'm going to do anyway. But ultimately, it's, I'm 26. So sometimes I have these things where I'm like, I'm 26. Can I really go out and say that when I have so much more to learn? It's like, yeah,
Yeah,
you
you
know
can.
what? Fuck it. You know what I mean?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, there's so much we talked about, but I think if I were to take anything away from this, I think, there's so many things to take away from it, but balance is so important, and respecting.
Not only just balance, but we keep going back to the same point.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to fit into the same box that everybody wants to be in, because there's so many women that don't think like me.